module 3, which speaks about basic principles and theories of organization. Okay. Now, in the last chapters in unit 2, we studied and we heard, or we discussed about what is an organization, various theories of Elton Mayo, and various other thinkers and various other authors. Okay. In this particular module, or in this particular chapter, we are going to discuss about what is hierarchy, what is delegation, what is centralization, and what is decentralization. All right. Now, see, what is the definition of hierarchy? Okay, hierarchy basically means different level of authorities, or different level of delegating the work, or trying to explain what are the duties, what are the powers, and what are the connections of people. All right. Then we see that hierarchy plays the most important and the crucial role in an organization, because it is the hierarchy which defines your powers, defines your limitations, and defines what kind of work and what kind of responsibility an individual has. Okay, depending upon his position and depending upon his powers and limitations that he has been given by the organization. Then we see what is the shape of hierarchy. Okay, there is a particular shape of hierarchy. We are going to see what is the shape of hierarchy. Number one, it is steep or flat pyramids. Okay, now steep and flat pyramids, it is basically horizontal and vertical, and from east to west. That is basically the meaning of steep or flat pyramids of hierarchy. Okay, now it is very important for a manager or for a leader of an organization to be very strict and very firm with his co-workers, okay, or people who work under him. But then also at the same time, he needs to have a humanistic approach. What do you mean by humanistic approach? It basically means that, okay, a leader, a manager, or you know um, a person in authority should also know that if he only dominates, if he only controls, if he only administers, his team is not going to perform that well as they can, okay, or his team will not be able to give their best, because there is always an authority sitting on their head with a stick, and uh, forcing them, dominating them, dictating them to do whatever the leader wants to do. Next, what is types of hierarchy? Okay, now hierarchy can be vertical and horizontal. Hierarchy can also be east or west. Okay, it means left or right. Now, when I'm talking to you about horizontal and vertical, it means top to bottom. Okay, and when I'm talking to you about east to west, or left or right, I basically mean to say that people at the same level. Okay, but people at the same level may also have certain duties and certain responsibilities to fulfill. All right. Then hierarchical communication. See, I do understand, or many a times we land up thinking about hierarchy. Array, he's a boss, okay, or he's my manager. But hierarchy in an organization is not only there to dominate or dictate terms. Hierarchy in an organization is also there to help each other grow in their particular sphere of influence. Okay, it could be, for example, directing the group, making policies, planning organization, okay, or making up a task to achieve a plan, okay, which actually depends from person to person, and which actually depends from project to project also. So that is what it means to say that there should be a very good communication when it comes to hierarchy. Okay, say for example, a peon or a sweeper, if he has any issue, or if he has any problem, okay, he should be confident enough to go and speak to his manager about it, rather than grumbling, rather than speaking bad about the organization outside. He should be given a chance where he can actually go up to his manager or the HR. Okay, if an organization has an HR, he should be able, or he should be given that power and that comfort level where he can actually go up to the HR or to the manager to go and speak and talk about his problem, so that a proper solution can also be provided at the same time. All right. Then we have importance of hierarchy. See, it is very important for an organization to have a hierarchy. Okay, because from top to bottom, all staff, all working persons are given certain job responsibilities. Okay, and there has to be a task master who will be controlling the job responsibilities. Okay, who will be taking a follow up of whatever has happened or whatever has not happened, because in the end it's the manager who's going to answer the management and not the colleagues. All right. So in a organization, hierarchy is the most important aspect, apart from planning, staffing, coordinating, okay, directing. It's more important that there should be hierarchy and people should be given a particular task or a particular responsibility to fulfill the task. All right. Then uh, another important aspect in an organization along with hierarchy is, distribution of work. Okay. See, whenever an appointment is made in an organization, or wherever an appointment is made, okay, in a particular company or in a particular firm, it is very important for the firm or for the organization to see that they select the best staff. Okay. Say for example, uh, a person who's very good in communication, he cannot be given the work of a peon or a clerk. Okay. Whereas he will be given the work of his particular level or of his particular caliber. And that is what makes a hierarchy more important, that the work should be distributed according to your qualification, according to your achievements, and according to your capacity and abilities to perform the task. Okay. Now what happens here is that human resource, that is HR, okay, which most of the firms, most of the organizations have, they have a proper setup of HR and human resource. Okay. They have their own setup, they have their own ways of working, they have their own ways of communication, and that is what makes the difference in the organization. That if the HR or if the management selects a wrong person, okay, for a particular job or for a particular, you know um, position, then that particular organization will always face a loss. Okay. They will never be able to see the profit, they will never be able to see the fruits of their hard work or fruits of their investment. All right. Then we see what is the basic feature. There are some of the most important features of hierarchy. Why do we need hierarchy, and what important role does the hierarchy plays? Number one, the entire administrative function is divided into units and subunits. Okay. Say for example, India is a country, it's an enormous country, it's a huge country, it's a gigantic country. Okay. So to control the entire system, or to control the entire structure, okay, we follow quasi-federal and unitary feature. India has quasi-federal and unitary features, okay, to run the government. That means there are small units like Panchayati Raj system, like like Zilla Parishad. Okay, so these are some of the small organizations or units which have been set up by the government of India, particularly to perform the task. Okay, particularly to perform the task of controlling the system, and trying to manage the system. Okay, or trying to connect the system with its best possible way. Second, these units are organized in the form of a pyramid. Okay, that means top to bottom. Okay, and from this pyramid we can understand that, okay, top to bottom the hierarchy plays a very crucial role in the administration. Authority is distributed to various levels. Everybody has the authority: a peon, a watchman, a security guard, a manager, a chief executive officer, okay, a managing director, an accountant, a salesperson, a telecaller. Everyone has their authority in their particular arena of work or in their particular way of job profile. Okay, so power is given to everyone, but the main power or the concentration of power is into the hands of the manager. because he knows what to do and he knows how to perform. All right. Then see, also along with this, we see that hierarchical organizations observe the principle of through proper channel. Okay, there has to be a proper channel through which all the complaints, all the issues can be resolved. Okay, now say for example, there is a section officer of a particular section. Say for example, production section, okay, section of raw material, section of distribution of goods, sales section. Okay, so every section has an officer, and every officer, okay, has a particular limitation of work and a particular limitation of powers and responsibilities. We will see Henry Fayol's gang plan. Let's see what does Henry Fayol has to speak about his gang plan. Okay. Now he speaks about two types of doing this particular task of hierarchy. Okay. He speaks that he says that a bridge can be thrown, okay, across the formal lines of authority of the hierarchy, so that subordinate officers, okay, officers who are actually not in performing that particular task, or performing that particular role, okay, actually they can connect to their opposite members in other department directly. It means to say east or west, the down level officers. Okay, for example, marketing person has a different way of attitude. Okay, salesperson, production person. Okay, you can say that demand person. Okay, the person who handles the entire accounts, who are at the same level. So there should be a different kind of a bridge which should be created among people, where people can actually try to communicate, even though they work for the same organization. They don't know each other, okay, or they only meet each other during a Diwali celebration or a New Year celebration, or if there is an appraisal, or if there is an appreciation of the staff, which is actually not correct. Okay, every staff needs to know everyone by their name and by the position and what kind of work they do. All right. Second, one or more immediate levels may be jumped to establish direct contact between officers, and quicker one, the place of work. This is known as level jumping. Say, for example, if there is a major issue, okay, if there is a major issue, the peon should have the power, the peon should be allowed to approach the higher manager. Okay, definitely in some organizations or some authorities, some people think that how can these small staff, or how can these small category of people can come and approach us. But if this is the kind of attitude that people have in their mind, they will never be able to progress, they will never be able to run the organizations effectively. So a peon, a clerk, a watchman should also be given a chance to speak to the manager, where he can share his redressal, where he can share his grievances, okay, and he can ask for a proper redressal at the same time or at the same moment. Okay, let's see what are the merits of hierarchy. See, hierarchy creates unity of people. Okay, it means people know who is the boss, who is the CEO, who is a manager, who is a MD, and who is the staff. So that whenever there is a problem, they can definitely go and approach that particular individual for whatever reason or for whatever work they have with these people. Then it integrates people together. Okay, it integrates, it creates a bond, it creates a unity among people. And when such kind of things takes place, when such kind of balance is maintained, okay, it is always seen as a plus point, it is always seen as a positive point in the society, that you know whom to recall or whom to run to when there is a problem. All right. Then we see fixed responsibilities. Say for example, if there is a fire in the office, Okay, if there's a fire in the company, whom will the staff run to? Are they going to ask the boss? Are they going to wait till the boss comes to work? Or they are going to run to the manager who is going to control the staff? So definitely when your responsibilities are fixed, okay, you come to know whom to approach, how to approach, and when to approach, and for what to approach. All right. Then strict adherence to procedure. Uh, as I said earlier, just a couple of minutes back, that there should be a good friendly relation among the staff in an organization. Okay, and even though there is a hierarchy, there should be a good coordination and good relation among the people. But it should not be taken casually. It should not be taken for granted. Things should be formal. Things should be official. Okay, there's a time to be official. There's a time to be unofficial. There's a time to be friends, and there's a time to work as colleagues, right? So these things should be taken into consideration, and that is what it means when I'm talking to you about strict adherence to procedure. Proper procedure should be followed to approach a person. Okay, say for example, if you want to meet a higher authority, you have to send a mail to them. There has to be an official mail which needs to be sent. Then you have to wait till you know the person in authority sends you the reply. And when there is a reply, okay, they will give you the time, they will give you the day, and they will give you the place when to meet and how to meet and where to meet. You just can't knock the door and get into the office of your managing director or chief executive officer, because that's against the policy of breaking the hierarchy rule. All right. Demerits of hierarchy, see, it's very mechanical. Okay, mechanical in the sense कि it divides people. ऐसे हो सकता है कि आपको डर लगे कि हम हाउ आर वी गोइंग टू गो टू सच बिग पीपल. ओके, अरे मुझे मेल लिखना नहीं आता, आई डोंट नो हाउ टू राइट द मेल, so how am I going to approach such big authorities? And what if they shout at me? What if they scream at me? Right? So that kind of threat is always in that mind. Rigidity. If there is a if the organization is quite rigid, okay, it makes difficult for people to approach the authorities and approach the people. The success or failure of this system very much depends on the person likings of the head of the organization. If the head of the organization is good, if the head of the organization is great, okay, then the staff can approach such people very easily. But if it is not correct, okay, if the head of the organization is very arrogant, people will never go. Rather, they will always keep resigning, and the company or the organization will always lose the good staff, the talented staff, and the trained staff. And the other organization will make the best use of them, because the organization or the leader who's quite arrogant, who's quite strict, okay, definitely he will not be able to communicate with his staff. So that becomes very mechanical, that becomes very robotic at times. Okay, what is the practical usage? See, what is practical usage is, if you are given a position, okay, you should also be given certain powers, certain prestige, and certain privileges. Because when you are given certain position, you need to have certain kind of a power or decision making authority, or decision making power, or decision making authority also. Let's see, what are the various features of hierarchy. Number one is delegation. You have to give the work to people. I can't say I am the boss, I will do everything. The moment you say I will do everything, or the moment you say I know everything, that is the first step towards your failure in career. Okay, that is the first step. That is the first, foot, or the first step that you take towards your failure, your career in an organization. Okay, if you work hand in hand with your staff, if you try to work hand in hand with your staff, and if you try to coordinate and cooperate with your staff, then the work can be delegated most appropriately. Okay, what is delegation? Meaning of delegation. Delegation means entrusting part of superior's work to his subordinates. Okay, say for example, if I am a manager, okay, and if I have worker or labor under me, if I am giving them some work, I am trusting them that you guys will follow my instructions, and you guys, okay, will will perform the task the way I tell you, and you guys will get me the work on time. You guys will connect. You guys will try to, complete the production on time, and marketing and supply of the product can be done. Okay, so if I trust someone, I will definitely expect. Okay, and if I'm expecting, it means I am entrusting my trust in a particular staff or in a particular organization. What are the limits to delegation? Number one, determining the basic policy of the organization. The organization has to make certain policies. Okay, organization just cannot run on the air, or it just can't run on the paper and pen. There has to be certain policies which has to be maintained, or which has to be controlled by the organization. Preparation and implementation of the budget. There has to be a budget every year. Okay, I'm sure since you guys are student of political science, you might have heard about budget process. Okay, every year the budget process takes place. Okay, in the month of February in the Parliament. Okay, each department of the government submits its requirements in terms of financial needs, and every department's financial needs are discussed in the budget process. And according to the Parliament, according to the members of Lok Sabha, okay, and the majority vote that goes, okay, and the allocation of financial resources by the central or the union government, budgets are approved by the central government. The power to appoint the key personnel. Okay, the power to appoint is only with the owner, with the CEO or with the managing director of a company or an organization. So only he has the power, only he or she has the power. The overall performance of the organization. The organization cannot run on its own. It's the people who contribute for the development of the organization. Okay, and when they contribute for the development of the organization, okay, they also try to understand the need of the worker. Okay, because many organizations are only profit making organizations, but still there are some organizations along with profit making, they also think about their worker, they also think about the betterment of their staff. All right, then representing the organization. An organization is very well known in the market by two ways. Number one, it's profit. Number two, it's staff. If it's making profit, it's considered to be the best. And if its staff is happy, if the staff speaks good about it, if the staff doesn't, leave the job and run for other organizations, that organization is considered to be the best organization. All right. Then creating the necessary climate. What is the necessary climate? See, the necessary climate is that, have a friendly approach, have a proper procedure, try to understand, try to create um, differences among people. Okay, reduce the gap between top to bottom. Okay, try to make a friendly atmosphere at workplace, and try to understand the problems of your workers. Advantages. What is the advantages? See, advantages of delegation. Number one, okay, you know whom to give the work. Number two, you know the capacity of your worker. You know, okay, who will do which work, and on time your work will be done, and the company will not face any loss or any grievances. What are the barriers to delegation? Number one, organizational barrier. Okay, if the organization is too strict with its people, if the organization is too strict with its workers don't perform well. They only perform with threat. Okay. Second, lack of well-established methods and procedures. If your procedures are not very well maintained, if you don't know how to process, your organization will never be successful. You will always face problems, you will always face issues. Okay, inexperienced and ill-trained employees. Okay, every year you throw people out because you don't want to give them increment. You will always have a new staff, and the new staff will not know how to control the machines and how to perform their task on the machines. Third, the type of work functions being managed. Every person is blessed with certain type of um, technical know-how, and that is possible, and that is only possible through certain channels. Psychological barriers. What are the psychological barriers? Psychological barrier number one, the superior's feeling of importance attached. I'm the boss, you're the peon, you're the clerk, you are into the production house. Okay, you will not listen to me. I will not listen to you. Okay, you need to take an appointment and then come to me. Then a feeling of insecurity, position. Okay, मेरा position है, insecurity, a feeling. Third, many subordinates are, you know, pressurized. They don't feel comfortable. Okay, they don't feel comfortable to go and approach people. Then highly developed egoism. There's a lot of egoism. Okay, there's lot of egoism among people that they try to create, they try to understand. uh, they are impatient. Okay, they are not very patient with people. The moment they see any small problem, they'll start firing their stuff, which is actually not a good thing to understand. Remedies to barrier: try to reduce the understanding, try to reduce the differences, try to reduce the gap from the people. Okay, then have a proper planned organization, have a proper planned you know meetings, proposals. Then there needs to be a friendly environment which should be provided to people. Centralization, meaning of centralization: basically a situation where decision making authority is held predominantly by senior managers. See, centralization is also important because it helps people to get their work done. Okay, advantages: standardization of procedures and system. There should be standardization. ऐसे नहीं कि इट्स ओके, इट्स फाइन, चलता है, कल कर दो, परसों कर दो. देयर नीड्स टू बी स्ट्रिक्ट प्रोसीजर्स. Reduced cost, there needs to be reduction of cost. Okay. Uniformity in action, there needs to be uniformity. Okay, all workers should be treated equally, and all workers uh, should be given same way of working, same procedure of working. Then we have personal leadership. What is personal leadership? Personal leadership basically means that you should know to perform your task and you should know how to work. Okay? You should be able to get well connected. You should be able to manage your own issues. You should be able to understand things properly. Then flexibility. There should be flexibility provided to worker. They should not be forced. They should not be suppressed. Okay, there should be flexibility given to them. Better coordination. For better coordination, there needs to be a good rapport between the higher as well as the lower level people and people at the same level also. Disadvantages of centralization of authority: destroys individual initiative. Okay, people feel कि power एक के हाथ में है और वो dominate करता है तो उसी को करने दो. We are not going to enter into it. Overburden of few. Okay, very few people are given power, so they try to dominate, they try to dictate, they try to exploit people. Okay, slows down the operation. Of course, it slows down the operation because if it's in one hand, if the power is in one hand, if one person or two, three people are dominating, it's going to create a havoc in the organization also at the same time. Decentralization basically means giving away power to people. Okay, it's not that power is not controlled, but certain powers, certain decision making powers, depending upon certain departments, should be given to people at the same time. Types of centralization: political decentralization. Okay, uh, it basically means that now say in a parliamentary system, in a democratic system, it's not only the ruling party, the opposition party also who rules. Okay, so the power is balanced between the ruling as well as the opposition. And keeping this thing in mind, okay, it is not only the ruling but also the opposition party, which is quite dominant in a quasi-federal and unitary structure of government. Administrative decentralization: administrative power should be given not only to the bureaucrats or to the bureaucracy, it should also be given to the people of the lower category also. Advantages of decentralization is that when powers are given to everyone, people try to perform, they think that they also have some importance. Okay, in emergency they don't have to wait for approval of higher authorities. They can make their decisions, they can get the problem solved by themselves. Disadvantages of decentralization is basically you know um, power can be manipulated, corruption can take place. Okay, nepotism can take place, work can be delayed. Okay, people can misuse their power, people can misuse the power that has been given to them by the organization or by the leader, or or by the authority. All right, so this was your topic, this was your chapter on hierarchy, delegation, centralization, and decentralization. All right.